My name is Tiffany Johnson, and welcome to the second season of the Tier Childcare Podcast. After being in childcare for many years and having my own successful business, I wanted to show you what it takes to be top tier. While being in childcare, we try so many things. We Google, we call our peers, and sometimes we try to find a way to solve our own problems. But sometimes it's helpful and less time consuming to seek outside resources for additional help in our program. Today we have our co-host joining us, Miss Latoya Williams.
Good morning.
All right. So when do you feel like it's a good idea to seek outside assistance?
When you have reached your capacity or your ceiling as to how you can help your families,
Yeah.
sometimes we can try to overload ourselves trying to figure stuff out when it's just easier to reach out to outside sources because we don't always have the answer.
And I also feel like not only just with parents or with just like systems and what to use and especially if you are a owner of a facility, like what programs to get or when is it time for you to, because I know the biggest thing for me was I knew childcare. I also knew the business part of it as well, but being a owner of it was a new seat for me that I was not fluent in. Even though I held all the seats, it was a hold in childcare, but owner was just the top one that I never had. So the thing that I had to realize was I needed help with the financial part of it because I was like, listen, I know how to pay my own bills. But when it comes down to, taxes and
On a larger scale.
oh my gosh, when we got to a larger scale, I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you the stories. For the first maybe like year or two that we had the business, I was filing the business taxes. Did I know what I was doing? Nope. I went to what was it, QuickBooks or whatever that little
Yeah.
thing is, and that's how I filed the taxes. And then over time, I end up running into a tax preparer and she prepared our taxes, but we also then got to a greater scale where we need a CPA because a taxpayer can't do it
But
all
so
and don't
much,
know
yeah.
they can't do but so much. So it's just a lot of things that I needed to seek outside assistance with because I wasn't sure. And thank God I didn't try to hold on to it and be selfish or just say, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out before I decided to get outside, assistance with whatever it was. Like you were saying, when it comes down to the financial part of being an owner operator, or when it comes down to the part of when you're in the center and you have issues with a parent, or of course we talked about children with disabilities. You're trying to teach your staff on how to deal with certain situations or different programs that you may
Right.
need to download, or is it another program out there that's helpful, or even as far as payroll, do I do payroll on my own or do I reach out to another
Yeah.
company? Like at some point when you have exhausted all of your answers, like I said, from Google, from your peers, or you trying to research on your own, at that point you need some help.
Yeah, you need help. And you may need help on a lower scale. Like with us, we were just using a Word document for newsletters. And when they would send it over to me, it started like glitching. I couldn't print it. And then we brought on our curriculum specialist and she was like, hey, let's use Canva. So even on not so much a larger scale, sometimes you need help on smaller scales. And it's okay. Like, you know how much time I was fighting the computer to print? Like the blocks wouldn't equal up or just easy stuff. And she came in with the easy fix, like Canvas better. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about font. So even on a smaller scale, reaching out for help will save you so much more time than you just sitting there and trying to figure it out on your own.
Or imagine if we was to Google something and pay for all these subscriptions. Everything costs for
Yeah.
something, and we just came up with, and
One
someone
solution.
else one solution, and we could have saved us so much money down the line because money and time,
Yeah.
down the line because we didn't know, and it's okay to not know.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I want people to understand. It's like because even me, like people look at me like you know so much. I'm like, and it's a lot that I do not
Do
know.
not know.
I will call phone a friend in a minute to say, hey, listen, or even when it comes down to like, of course, we're trying to do a therapeutic school. So even then, when I talked to the state and I talked to people that, was in the field that could help us, move to this therapeutic school, I told her, like, this ain't my forte.
Right.
This is not my field. This is not my lane. Childcare is my lane, but certain things I'm just not fluent in. So I need your help. I need your expertise. I need your advice. I need all of those things. Now, again, make sure that you're getting advice from people that's credible.
Exactly.
Because just because they say they have done it and they have no proof, I need you to draw me some fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't just get advice, from anyone that cannot bear any fruit from what they have done. So we was able to do that. So I was able to get a lot of good resources and good things that we needed to do, instead of me spinning my wheels, spending money, or just going out on a limb and saying, I think I got it, and spending so much money on something that I don't have a clue about. Of course, we teach classes and take classes, about special needs children, but not necessarily what to do to make sure we have a whole entire classroom that's geared
at
towards
the larger scale.
Right, special needs children, or children with any type of disability. That is something new to me. So I didn't, especially me. When I get an idea, I'm all in.
Hit the ground running.
But I have been in a place where I have spent so much money doing things that I should not have. I didn't need to do, and I could have kept my money in my pocket, and now I'm scrambling. So how do you feel? So how do people choose, or how do we choose the best outside resource for us to meet a particular need that we have?
I think, like you said, reaching out, since we are in the childcare sector, making sure you're reaching out to DSS or DHEC or those type of things. And a lot of times with like DHEC, we get all these fake news about this thing, the bird flu, COVID, and this, that, and the third, and you can't run with it. You have to make sure you have the facts. You have to make sure. So whatever is going on in your center, you need to make sure it's pertaining directly to your center, and you're going to those credible resources and not just saying, hey, social media said X, Y, and Z, and we're going to run with it. We have to make sure we are getting credible sources to help our families.
And like I said, the biggest thing is whoever you choose, be sure that you see fruit from their labor, to make sure that you are choosing the right person or the right resource, because the state has so many good resources, and we use those resources as well, and we refer other people to use those same resources because they are credible about what they have, and they have good resources. And a good thing about it is they're able to have people come out to the facility to even help you navigate through your problems. Now, some things that they don't have, that of course Top Tier does, help other people navigate through, which is programs. Believe it or not, even when you do have your own facility and you're trying to grow at some point, having good credit,
and staffing, they don't provide like when to cut, when not to cut, how to do budgets based on your food and your costs and what your revenue is coming in. They don't really provide that, and that's something that we provide, that people kind of overlook because this is the basics. The basics. You've been in childcare, but like you said, you have to learn the business part of it, the back end that allows you to run smoothly.
Because I know when you came on with us and we started expanding, you was like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
We
I
got
was
to
like,
do
what
that.
the world?
Yeah.
Contractor. How much? Oh, Lord, we can't draw that ourselves. No, we can't draw that ourselves.
Yeah, so you're talking about contractors, architectural plans, even when it comes down to the right location, regulations, because people don't understand that there's a difference, and I say this all the time, between the city and the county.
Yeah, I've learned that. I've definitely learned that.
Yeah, so what I can do in the city, I may not can do in the county.
Right.
Or for like us, we in Columbia, so Richland County and Lexington County,
Two different.
There are two different sets of regulations that you have to abide by. Like two of our clients, they had to put in, no, three of our clients, they had to put in the high-low water fountains. That's a city code versus
Someplace else you wouldn't have to do it.
We got 2 centers that don't have to have a high-low water fountain. So it's things of that nature that you definitely need to reach out to someone before you start, to do certain things in your facility, whether you're trying to start up a facility, whether you're already in a facility, and you're trying to figure out how I can go to the next level. Another thing is like curriculum. A lot of people are not fluent in curriculum.
No.
So, reach out to different, types of people that has different curriculums to learn more about them, or reach out to people that has those curriculums or using those curriculums and see how they feel about it, see what the pros and cons are. So just like I said, just reaching out to make sure that you have the right resources, credible resources. I'm going to keep saying that because I have found out as well that some people give people advice when it comes down to childcare, and they have not been in childcare in 15 years.
Yep.
And childcare changes
every day.
Every day. It's a new rule, a new law. Something comes out all the time. New memos. But if you're not already in childcare and you're not working the business, it will be hard for you to continue to give people good advice or resources on what they should be doing. Well, like I said, whether they're doing startup or if they're already in a facility and they just want to enhance their facility,
Right.
or they just want to know what to do with staff and how to come on a schedule, or how do I budget my labor, or how do I expand at some point in time. Just make sure that you always go to someone that has already done the work,
Right.
Or has sat in that seat recently, so you will know that you're getting the correct information.
And go to someone that's not just going to sell you something. So when you're reaching out to these different vendors and stuff, like we just had it come to us. We had 2 different vendors. We had already went with one vendor that was going to provide us cleaning supplies. And then we had another vendor coming trying to sell us just because it was maybe, quote unquote, a lower price. That was not going to work for our location. And he tried to push the thing, but we kept saying, that's not what we need. Everything that looks good may not fit your location. It may not fit what you need. Like we do ProCare. Somebody else might not be on that larger scale that needs a ProCare system. So you just got to make sure what is going to work best for your location. Because what works best for us may not work best for you, but you need to reach out to someone who is welcoming enough to say, hey, you don't have to go with mine, but let's let's think about what's best for your location, and let's put what's going to work for you.
Because even things that we do, even like the company that we started to use, the contract we just signed, that company is a larger company. Now, if you would have called us 3-4 years ago,
we wouldn't need them.
We wouldn't need them. So I wouldn't dare, tell another facility that is smaller or may only have one location, hey, you need to use this company.
Yeah.
You will waste your money. You will drown, and you will go over budget if you was to use this company. Now, the other company that came to us, I have never heard of them day in my life.
Me either.
So that was another reason why I was like, I'm going to pass the baton on this one.
Yeah.
Because I have never heard of you. And then, it's all about presentation too.
Yes.
So whenever another thing is like people do try to push themselves on you when they're trying to sell you something. And I don't like that.
Because it's my choice. Yes. I can tell you no.
Yes.
Like I can tell
and
you
can
no.
tell when someone is just trying to push you into something. I don't care what it is, whether it's buying soap dispensers or a curriculum or paper products, whatever it is. Like you have to know where you are and know, like I said, it's coming from a credible source, because I have never seen that man day in my life. I have never heard of the company, and the way you got out of the car, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna give you my money anyway, but I'm gonna send you to the home office.
Yeah. And what did I say? Tiffany, did you send this man? Absolutely. Even if he could have saved us $250, it was all his presentation. It was too pushy. You did not give me a time to say, yeah, this will work, or no, this is not going to work. It was like, you're going to go with me and you're not going to, sir, I'm sorry.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work, because if you're that way with me, when you come into my location, you're going to be that way with my staff. And I'm not going to put them in that predicament where they have to feel uneasy. If you come in there and push something, well, your boss knows about it and they already know chain of command, and you're going to push them into a situation. So that just was not,
So you always got to be, so that's what we do overall. We just make sure the companies that we partner with are the right companies for us.
For us, yeah.
They make sure that they supply, not only, it's a business, so of course you have to supply us with the services that we need, but also making sure that your characteristics matches up with ours.
Yeah.
So even though, like I said, maybe $1 cheaper, but we carry ourselves a certain way when we are, when we are, in a facility. So we expect for someone else to carry themselves the exact same way,
Right.
So how do you feel about how much time people should take until they reach out to another source?
So I feel like the nature of us is to do what we can and do what I can, but in the meantime, it's piling up, piling up until it's overflowing, and now you have to rush and find somebody versus stepping back at like step 2 and be like, you know what, realistically,
Can I do this?
Yes, I don't have the answer for this. So now you've wasted time because you've been trying to find the avenue when you could have just picked up the phone and said, hey, sister girl across the street, I know you have this at your center, or I know you have this therapist coming in. Can you give me the referral to push through?
And that's exactly what ends up happening, is that they get to a point where it's like, I'm really about to go belly up. Most of the time, it's like even with our clients for top tier, by the time I get a client, especially my clients that have already started the process already, they have already given up. Or they had funds and have ran out of funds because they tried doing unnecessary things. Because just one client we went to last week, and when I first met her, I was like, "You did what? They told you to do what now?"
Yeah.
Do you know how much money you just wasted? Because that was so unnecessary, and you didn't need that. But of course, she didn't know me at the time. Before she ended up, spending all the money that she had spent. But now it's like I'm at my wit's end. I am out of funds. I have minimum funds left, and then it allows us. As a consultants to work a miracle, and really pull blood out of a turnip. But, we miracle workers. We do it every time, no matter how big or small the budget is. We still make it happen. But imagine how they would have been if they would have asked for help last year, way months ago, before they got to a point where they just had to completely stop what they were doing. So, my advice would definitely be try it. And if you fall, try again. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you get to that third time and you're realizing that you can't sleep, you have wasted tons of money, and you do not know what else to do, it's time to reach out to somebody.
Absolutely.
And somebody always knows somebody. So even if your first source, even if it was a state or anyone that have been through the things that you're going through, reach out to someone and they will definitely point you in the right direction, on what you should be doing. But do not, any circumstances, wait until you are belly up in the business that say, I need help. You always want to reach out way prior to it, especially when you don't know what you're doing. Hey, I'm not fluid in this. Even when it was time for us to get an architect, like our first building, I found out we had to get an architect, but prior to that, I didn't know that. But it's a lot of things I learned along the way when it comes down to architects. I know some architects try to come in and have never did a plan for a childcare facility before. So it goes back and forth with the fire marshal 10 times, and they trying to figure out what's going on or what's wrong. Or the architect was passed with the city, but won't pass with the DSS fire marshal. So they like, well, Miss Tiffany, what I'm supposed to do? And I'm like, baby, you should have got another architect because he ain't it.
Yeah.
But then, so that means it allows them to have to pay for architectural plans twice.
And they're not cheap.
At all. None whatsoever. But I thank you again for coming in so we can help the people realize.
It's a good discussion.
On what they're supposed to do or what they should be doing when it comes down to things that they do not know. And it's okay to not know, because even though we have been in childcare for 17 years at this point, it's a lot of things that we still don't know, and we end up reaching out to other people and saying, hey, you know what, I don't know the answer to this, but I need help. And it just definitely saves us a lot of time, a lot of money, for us just going in and getting the right information and getting the right answer so we can move forward. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Top Tier Childcare Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if you have any questions, you may email us at info@btoptier.org.